The Sustainable Napier meeting for the 24th of October 2024, the last sustainable meeting for 2024. I'd ask us to stand for the opening karakia, please.
Under the really big.
Tutawa mai raro, tutawa mai roto, tutawa mai waho. Kia tau ai te mauritu, te mauriora, ki te katoa, hone, rie, tai, ie.
So just as a little bonus for today, we're going to do a drop, cover and hold for 30 seconds and then we'll go back onto the meeting. We're not going to walk up the hill, but if it was a real bad one, you would be. And after last night, I'd be heading for Central School because they had a presentation of what they've got, and they've got a stable building, water, food, and electricity. So it was quite exciting going and seeing their opening last night. Okay, so we'll start off by getting under the table without alcohol.
Non meglio.
Looks like a sleep over you guys down there. When did we come out? Who's counting?
Hey, are you counting?
Yeah. Who was that?
Make sure it doesn't clock over a minute and we've got it past the hill.
Don't have too much fun.
Okay, thank you.
Roger, I couldn't fit under you.
Rephrase. Are you saying
The table's in sec here, thank you. No, I did not. Welcome back, Amber. Wow.
Well, I did come up a little bit earlier just to check that everybody was down there, and it was well, just as well I recognised Sally's voice because she was throwing out commands. Okay, do we have any apologies, please? Councillor Taylor? Not Councillor not Deputy Mayor Brosnan. Mover and a seconder, thanks. Agreed. Councillor Mawson. Councillor Brown, all those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Carried. Just a reminder that this meeting is being recorded and on the council Facebook page. Do I have any conflicts of interest? No. So we have a public forum, and I'll go through. We've got Stu Dawson, Bruce Taylor and Stacey Lee from the Greendale Tennis Club. So if you come up to these seats here. You have 10 minutes, which we try and throw the question times into that 10 minutes, but that is quite hard probably. So start now and we'll start the clock in 10 seconds time.
Good morning, Napier City Council, Your Worship, the Mayor and Councillors and Council officials. Our presence here this morning is to share with you all the desires and plans of the Greendale Tennis Club on behalf of 194 senior members and 265 junior members. We've noted when looking at the Council's website under the mission, vision and priority statements that you'd like to nurture relationships with your community with a commitment to listen to our needs, concerns and aspirations, and in my particular case, because you state you are age friendly. Spaces and places are for everyone, as you say, to access and use with a focus on accessibility and safety. And I guess it's the safety aspect of what we are proposing to you this morning that is most important. And as you say, to make Napier the best city in New Zealand in which to live, enjoy and have a safe and satisfying life. Our presentation is based on these principles. I take it. So, as you can see on the screen, GTC has been in Taradale since 1949. Grass courts, club rooms, and a club rooms on the side of the court, slowly expanding over the years. In 1985, Taradale Sports Association was established to accommodate the Napier Harriers Club, Greendale Tennis, Taradale Cricket, and this multi-use club room with 3 sports codes has worked well for many years. Recently, it was proposed to the TSA and voted upon to allow Taradale Association Football Club to become a shareholder of the TSA after many years of use as just an associate. This has increased the use of the TSA significantly, in addition to the hiring out of the TSA unfettered use to the general public. Our current situation in 23, Greendale Tennis Club held its strategic planning members with its members. It became very apparent that the members no longer viewed the TSA amenities as a secure, safe and convivial place to use, and at the Greendale Tennis Club annual general meeting, it was proposed, voted on and decided that the committee should investigate the potential of GTC having its own club rooms. GTC's current situation means members have no access to toilets, showers or changing rooms without leaving the confines of our courts, a situation which our members find untenable due to the societal changes over the past 10 years. We have men, women and children playing tennis daily who have no access to toilets. Most importantly, they do not feel safe at night leaving our courts, and the TSA is also locked most of the time. Our current amenities, as you can see by that picture up there on the right-hand side, that's the access for women to go down to a referee's changing room to use those facilities. During the football season, we have no ladies' facilities at all. Women are expected to use the shared officials' room down the pathway there. The only way to get there is straight past the men's changing room. This is a less than acceptable option for our female members. It causes anxiety and results in members not attending club events. We've had numerous occasions outside of the winter months where males have been in the ladies' facilities, and as a club, we have received multiple complaints from our female members. The lack of safety and anxiety for our female and young people is of great concern, and a male member has also experienced recently an inappropriate encounter with a homeless person. Leaving the court area to use the TSA facilities when they're available no longer ensures the safety of GTC's ladies, kids, and is the main reason behind our proposal, the arrow pointing to the pathway outside of our facility to get to the TSA. First group of our Hot Shots Junior program. Once again, every child needs to leave the safety of the premises to use the facilities, and most recently on a Saturday we had 160 young people there. There's limited access to the social facilities. The stairway there, access is very limiting, with a significant staircase for older folk, very difficult to use. The proposal from the committee and its membership have decided the best option for the club is to sacrifice one of our courts to accommodate a club room within the secure confines of our fenced facility. The middle bay on Court 4, closest to Simons Lane, and amenity is where we are proposing to build what will be a transportable club room. The club room is within the confines of GTC's fenced area, which we lease from the council, and will allow our members to always have safe access to facilities. That's a simplistic picture of the proposed facility. The internal layout with showers, toilets, men and women, a social area, a bar area, a storage area, and a club coaches facility. The building will go where those arrows point to. We have recently approached by Napier Pickleball to discuss, and the club has voted, and Pickleball will be joining Greendale Tennis Club with 150 members, average age of around age 35. We feel as a club the addition of pickleball will be of great benefit to GTC, not only for the future viability of GTC, but also the community who can all access the pay-to-play booking system for not only tennis but pickleball. However, this once again raises the issue of safety with approximately 150 new members. They, like tennis, will be needing to use toilets, thus having to leave the secure premises for changing toileting requirements should they be open. So in summary, we seek Napier City Council approval to progress with this proposal as soon as possible so the GTC committee can advise our members that their concerns are being addressed expeditiously. We feel the addition of these club rooms inside our securely fenced facility provides the security, safety of our members desire and deserve. It will also be a great asset that the Taradale community can enjoy, including clubs and other sporting codes such as Napier Pickleball. I'd like to thank the Napier City Council for this time, and in particular the support of Tanya Dyer and Brian Faulkner in getting to this point.
Thank you. I have one question. Is you're going to lose a court? Is that going to leave you wanting more courts?
No, it won't.
Right, okay. Do we have any other questions? Councillor Bowe.
Oh, just through you, Mr. Chair. Thank you for that. Sounds like a really good plan. Just a couple of questions. Are you building the new, and sorry if it's on my map, but I didn't pick it up. Are you building your new facility on top of the old one, or are you taking a different site?
Court 4 in the middle bay is empty. That's a court at the moment. That's where the proposed club rooms is going to sit.
Right, so it's not taking the whole court. What's the
definitely
footprint?
take the whole court.
Oh, the whole court.
Yeah.
Okay. So, and what will happen to the old building?
There is no building there. It's a tennis court right now, currently.
Thank you.
Councillor Crystal.
Just through the chair, you said it's going to be movable. Are you going to build it on site, or is it off site and you're going to move it on? And how are you going to fund it?
It will be built on site, on piles.
Yeah.
So it's basically you could cut it and pick it up and move it away if we had to. But it will be built on site. How are we going to fund it? Yep, that's the next step.
Okay.
Yep,
So you're going to do fundraising or?
yep, 100%. Yep.
Yeah, we didn't think it was appropriate to move into the funding
And
path until such time as we had the necessary approvals to proceed.
Thank you.
Other questions? Thanks very much. Good. Sorry. Julia.
Yes, through the chair, thank you. Will the clubhouse damage the surface of the court, or will it just be on top?
No, it will definitely damage the surface of the court because we will be digging down into the ground or concrete into pile holes. Yep. That court will be ridden off.
Toilet.
Any other questions? Deputy Mayor Brosnan.
Morning. Thank you for the presentation. Just looking at your plans, one of the things that popped into my mind is I know that the Taradale Association has been really interested, and I know Council has over time as well, as the sort of vitalisation of the lane there. Yours is going to be, your new building is sort of going to be right adjacent to the lane. Have you given any thought around vibrancy, maybe connection into the lane rather than sort of sitting in behind?
Are you meaning Simon's Lane?
Yes.
Yeah, it's basically, there's a hedge there that is, we kind of, with Tanya, we were kind of thinking discreet was better.
Okay.
So leave the hedge there. But if it does go ahead moving forward, it is something that we will open up to the Taradale community and Napier at large to lease and rent for functions. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure if your designs are finalised, but it does feel like an opportunity. I know that part of town, and I know some building owners who are doing different things in that space as well to sort of come out onto the lane. So just for your club's consideration, that there might be an opportunity around vibrancy and connection there as well.
Appreciate it.
Councillor Simpson.
Yeah, through you, Mr Chair, maybe directed to the staff. Are there any issues over access to, or easements to services like water and sewer?
Well, there's a paper coming up and probably a question they might have a bit of difficulty with at this stage. Okay, well, thanks very much. Item 2 is on our agenda for this, so if you want to wait around.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Announcements by the Mayor. No announcements by the Mayor. I have no announcements, but is there any minor matters? Do you just want to notify us of it and we'll do it at the end?
With some updates on last agenda minor matters.
Have you got a minor matter or you want to do an update, management update?
Management update.
We do a management update.
Management update, okay.
Yeah.
Carry on. Sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, no. Morena, councillors. Morena. Mr. Chair, there was a question asked by Councillor Bogue a few weeks ago about one of our fee structures within Ocean Spa, and this is for the Super Gold Card membership. And just wanting to give an update that we have looked into that. We have now made sure that the Super Gold Card membership has got the same benefits as the premium membership, and that's including the 10% discount at the batch. And that will be in place. If it's not today, it will definitely be tomorrow.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Good news.
Do we have any questions?
Oh, thank you.
Just further to that, there was one other minor matter which you may not have been given a heads up, Venus, regarding the pricing strategy for Ocean Spa, which staff are working through. We have got a meeting in the calendar with myself and relevant council officers on November the 11th, so that is progressing as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well done.
No questions? Okay, thank you. Councillor Bogue, you had a...
Yes, just a little announcement and a reminder to people that we have our annual Recycling Day, Keep Napier Beautiful Recycling Day, next Saturday, the 2nd of November at Anderson Park. So it's a good opportunity for you to find items in your own household items, toys, tools, bikes, those sorts of things that you don't need anymore and that you could donate to this wonderful community morning. All money that is collected goes to community organisations and community grants that beautify Napier. So it's from 8:30 till 12 on Saturday the 2nd of November at Anderson Park down the Freiburg Avenue end. Thank you.
Thank you. No announcements by...
No.
None announcements. Confirmation of minutes for Thursday, 12th September 2024 is a true and accurate record of the meeting. Moved by Councillor Gregg, seconded by Councillor Tariha. All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Right, we move on to agenda items. The first one being Ahuriri Alliance introduction, role and value. And we have Oliver and Kate.
Yep, Oliver Postings, is our Alliance Manager.
He's the Alliance Manager, and he has been part of roading in Hawke's Bay for a little while.
I have, for my sins.
I talked to him this morning under several different names.
Yep.
So away you go, Oliver.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. I'm Oliver Postings. I'm the Alliance Manager for Ahuriri. As Councillor Price has pointed out, I have been involved in roading, and for my sins I was State Highway Manager for many years for NZTA, but don't hold that against me. So look, I just wanted to give you a bit of an overview on the Ahuriri Alliance and what we're about. I think there's obviously been some awareness of this been going on for a couple of years, but I thought now's time to give you an update as to what an alliance is, what value it brings to the community, and kind of what we're focusing on as a team. So the traditional model of delivery is very much client acts as the network manager and instructs the contractor to go out and do works on the road. What the collaborative model does is bring the whole team together in a single delivery team, and we sit around and we engage in that collaboration to actually develop programs and find efficiencies in renewals and maintenance work that we wouldn't generally find in a traditional model. As you can see from the diagram, we bring the asset management, the programming, the controls, the delivery, the customer stakeholder, and sort of performance management all into one entity. And we focus on actually driving efficiencies and delivering the best for the community through this model. So the benefits, very much we're making decisions what are best for Napier basis. We're very much focused on delivering at a high performance level. It's very much about collaborative decision making. There's no blame here. This is all about if we make a mistake, we actually learn from it and we develop, and we actually take those learnings and make sure we don't do it again. We all work under a single governance and management structure, using the same processes, and it's all about finding those efficiencies and good customer outcomes. And ultimately, we're removing a lot of that duplication and waste. And the other thing is that there is a full transparency of costs. So this is a cost reimbursable model, and everything we do is vetted and audited independently. There are a number of alliances around the country. These are the ones that Downer are involved in. So one in Hamilton, the Milford Road Alliance, Tararua's had one for 10 years, Wanganui's had one for about 15 years, Tasman and New Plymouth. These are the ones in the sort of southern region, top of the south and the North Island. So ultimately what we're responsible for, and our vision, is about improving the well-being of the Napier community. You know, we're all residents of Napier, so it's an easier sell. So this is very much about getting value for money for all of us. And some of these areas, I won't read through all of them, but these are the areas that we're kind of responsible for. Self-explanatory really, but really around the transportation delivery. At a governance level, the principals group, which is made up of Russell and Louise and two from down Lyle and Darren, provides steerance and leadership and governance. And this is the vision they've set for us, which is delivering the best outcome for our community through innovation and continuous improvement. And the priorities centred around customer-centric delivery, collaboration, innovation and continuous improvement, efficiency and effectiveness, and ultimately developing our people. And obviously with the people development, the more training and the more development we put our people through, the better we can deliver for the community. So I'm not going to read all that, but it's essentially a cycle. You know, you identify what you need to do, you plan it, you tell people about it, you deliver it, and then you report on it, and you take those learnings and you put it back through the start of the model, so that you ultimately, if you do something wrong, you don't do it again, you learn. If you do something right, we share it and we improve on it some more. So very much probably the big area is around the customer and the community engagement. That's the bit that we're sort of growing into and we need to do better at, but that's like anything, there's always continuous improvement, and that's the whole purpose of the Alliance, constant improvement. In terms of how we measure our performance, there's a European Foundation for Quality Management which sets the performance framework. It's a fairly lengthy document, but ultimately it measures you on your direction, your execution, and the results. And we have a number of KPIs that we measured against that sort of align with the Alliance strategy and the vision. I didn't bring a copy of it. It's quite a lengthy document, but it's measuring our performance monthly. In terms of some of the changes we've made, using the smarts the data that we've identified in our systems, we've actually looked at, what can we do differently in how we renew our network. So this is just a bit of an infographic around, we've identified that last year we had a number of potholes, and potholes are a flavour of the year at the moment. So what can we do different to sort of change that? So what we've done is we've front-loaded our renewals, which is essentially the resurfacing of roads, into the first year to sort of highlight areas where we saw pavement failures and the such. And we've actually looked at, right, can we do more in the first year just to sort of get ahead of that? Ultimately, a pothole, you kind of don't want them forming. You want to be proactive and get ahead of it. So the asset management team are working across the team to really sort of put those smarts into how we program and plan for the future. And there's a bit of a high level. Just shows you that we're using the tools that we've got in our asset management just to sort of identify where we need to be focusing our renewals and reseals for the next few, I think that's 4 years. And this is just this year. Yep, asphalt, there's plenty gone on. But what we do as a team is we look at actually which parts of this program do we need to sort of minimise disruption to the community. So we do them at night. Others we do during the day. But you will see there that the areas that we're doing at night have high traffic flows, businesses. So we need to do them at night just to get in and out quicker. And that is pretty much it.
Have any questions, please? Councillor Crown.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much for the presentation. I found it really interesting reading through the paper and looking at the presentation side by side. My question is around, I guess, making it meaningful for the community. So whilst the framework system, the theory of this all makes sense to us, how are we communicating the difference from how we used to do things and what we're doing now and what it means to them? How has that been communicated with them?
That's an area that we need to work on. I think we kind of go about it in an unassuming kind of way, but without really selling the value that we're doing. So as an example, we're always looking for innovative ways of doing things, looking at ways of making sure that we connect up with, say, the council depot. I don't like the idea of a contractor going in and then another one coming in 2 days later. It just doesn't look good for any of us. So how do we connect up and actually make sure that we look like a seamless delivery model? We also look to other alliances and look at what they're doing and sort of share those learnings to see if someone else has always tried something else. If they've tried it and it hasn't worked, then we can discount that, or we can try it a different way. How we sell it to the community is probably something that we need to focus on for the next year. Let's get the model running smoothly and then sort of identify those innovations and savings and find a way of sort of celebrating them.
Sorry, yeah, through the chair. Just to add to that answer, the team of working on a comms and engagement strategy as well. So I think that's more, we recognise that the team does a lot of great stuff that we don't often tell a lot of people about, and sort of, we want to really promote the good work that the Alliance is achieving. So that's one of the tasks that the board have asked Oliver and his team to look into. So, yeah.
Councillor Crystal, then Councillor Bowe.
Just through the chair, you were talking about potholes, which has, been a huge bugbear, especially since the cyclone. And sometimes they seem to reform very fast. So are you looking at different ways of ash preparation, asphalt, all that stuff, what other people are doing? Because obviously it's a money thing to have to keep repairing them. What is there progress in that new science or something happening in that area?
Yep, we're always looking at innovations. There'll be multiple different ways of filling a pothole and reasons why we do it twice. Sometimes you just need to hold it until you come back and do it's cheaper to hold it than to dig it all up. You know, you want to actually coordinate it. So we're kind of looking at programs so that if we're going to be in an area, we want to do multiple things at the same time. That's the benefit of the Alliance, is that we can really collaborate to build a program that delivers value by doing 3 or 4 things, rather than traditional model where you go and you fix that bit, you might come back a month later and do the bit next to it, because you're not necessarily incentivised to build those efficiencies. So it is a challenge, and there are various technologies that we can implement, but ultimately we need to get our asset management better to identify those areas that where we are seeing failures and actually building programs to get ahead of the potholes. That's what we're aiming for.
Thank you.
Councillor Bogue.
Oh, yes, through you, Mr. Chair. Oh, thank you for that. On the slide that talks about the different responsibilities you have, a lot of them have been done by current employees, such as street sweeping and mowing and things like that. Are you bringing your own employees in, or are you employing those who were previously doing it under the sort of the depot?
So we have existing employees that have been doing this for 3 years, 4 years, but we'll look for opportunities to collaborate with the depot, so that if there are savings to be made, we'll be looking for those, and they might do some of the work that we're doing, and we'll look at those opportunities.
So if I may, Chair. So just to add a bit of context, so I think you're referring to the work that's done by City Services through the depot. The quantum of work that the depot deliver for us hasn't changed at all. So all of those, the mowing, the street sweeping, that all continues to be done by them, by the same staff. The difference between what the Alliance delivers and what City Services deliver is that the Alliance delivers fundable work, so the stuff that's done under our NZTA approved programme. And the work the City Services done, so that tends to be sort of footpath sweeping, the higher level CBD and neighbourhood centre sweeping, and the mowing of the areas that we wouldn't get funded for from NZTA. So there's actually 2 sets of mowing and street sweeping that go on, so some of it's delivered by the Alliance and some by the City Services.
So I guess, does it mean people will lose their jobs?
No. So there's like I say, the quantum of work hasn't changed, and the City Services is still delivering the same amount of work as they always have for us.
Thank you.
Where are you based?
Currently based in Battery Road.
Okay. Cool. Any other questions? Deputy Mayor Brosnan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's lovely to have you here, and thank you for sort of giving us visibility over your role and what the Alliance is doing. I guess the question that I've got, and you sort of talked about it in your kaupapa up front, was, you know, getting that value for money for the people of Napier. So my question is, do you feel like you're getting that value for money now, or is that a journey? In terms of the development of the organisation as a whole? And then my follow-up question to that is, how would we see reporting of that? What kind of visibility of the, here are the efficiencies we're achieving, come through to us?
Very good question. I think we are getting value for money. It's very difficult to quantify, but I think we are working on methods of sort of setting it out in a fashion that's easy to understand. As an example, we would bundle program work together, so that we go to an area and we do 3 or 4 things together. You don't necessarily see, it's hard to sell the value for money component, but there's definitely value for money in the programming and the efficiency of the resource. But it's a really good question, and something that we do need to improve on. How do we tell the community that this is adding value to us, to what we do here?
Thank you. And through you, Mr. Chair, just supplementary comment on that. I think that's really valuable, and not only value to community, but value to the elected members as well, who are obviously supporting that structure. And I think there is a real opportunity, whether that be in the quantity of work that's delivered within budgets, or I don't know if you can put metrics together in terms of your average market, what it would deliver versus what you guys are able to deliver for certain types of work. I think there's an opportunity there to probably report on that value for money over time, and maybe that's part of the maturity of the Alliance as it goes forward. But just a comment from myself.
No.
Yeah.
Good idea.
Councillor McGrath.
just through the chair, do we have service level agreements with you guys? How does it all work, like as far as setting a standard for quality and quantity delivered?
So we have an existing contract that was signed up in 2019, that has specification in it. That's kind of our guiding principles, if you like, around quality and how you deliver something. So that's what we use as a basis. But as it's an alliance, we'll always be looking for opportunities to, if the specification isn't the right specification, then we need to work together to actually develop ones that are meaningful and more relatable to the work we're doing. So it's constantly managed. The quality is managed. We report on rework, which is essentially going back if you have to redo something. And well, as an organisation, I don't like rework. I like to be done right. And one of our visions and values is do it right, do it once, do it right. So we're very much focusing on lifting the performance of the team to make sure that they do actually do it right the first time. So that's very much a focus for our operational crew.
Yeah. Okay, and just a follow-up, we've got things like mowing. We know that climate change is meaning we're having to mow more and more often and for longer throughout the year. So do we have set standards for how often you're supposed to do stuff, or length of grass or anything like that?
Yep, the mowing, there is a fairly straightforward mowing specification. It's done on a cycle. Obviously, you do less in the winter and more in the spring and less in the summer. And it's set at a set height. But these are areas that we can sort of tweak and change as we move forward through the next few years. If we feel that the cyclic frequency is too high or too low, then we can change it accordingly.
Thank you.
Councillor Simpson.
Yeah, through you, Mr Chair, just on your do it once, do it right, and the value add proposition. How's the relationship with other utility operators that have the utilities within the roading reserve environment? How's that conversation going when you're looking at renewing seal or renewing a road structure? Are they buying into the need for them to look at their assets and make sure that once the seal is sealed, it looks good for a while, rather than, we seal it 1 week and someone digs it up next week?
Definitely, that's a big focus for us. Obviously, working closely with the depot, giving them a sort of an annual. We sort of give them the program sort of 6 or 7 months before, and align with them. And we also the Forward Works viewer, which is a tool that all the utilities buy into. That's obviously all our resurfacing and programs that run through that. Getting everyone to buy in is a challenge, especially some of the sort of third-party ones, your choruses and those that sit outside of local government. But that's something that we're working for, because nothing worse than putting down new seal and then a week later someone chops a trench into it. It's frustrating. So that's definitely a focus for our team going forward.
Councillor Brown.
Yeah, kia ora. Thank you for the presentation, and I love the direction you're heading in, and if I summarise it as work smarter, not harder, I think you're ticking all the boxes. This isn't so much a governance question, but just a local representative feedback. People are really interested in what you're doing, and one of the key things that probably a lot of us, but the key request I get is what's happening behind that fence, or what's going on here. So people are interested, and one of the key things they're asking is, like, could we just have a sign on the fence or comms at site? They're really interested in what you're doing. So just feedback.
Good feedback. Yeah, I'll take that on board and we'll see what we can do. Definitely can.
Any other questions? Do I have a mover for the officer's recommendation? Councillor Brown, seconded by Councillor Mawson. Would you like to speak? Maybe what you've just said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to add. I think that it's working really well. I mean, this is an excellent presentation and quite timely. And often I find that there's a bit of a perception in the community that they misunderstand that oftentimes the potholes are actually on an NZTA network, which has nothing to do with us. So, yeah, I've certainly seen around my area some progress where, as mentioned by Oliver, they've done the quick fix, and they've needed to come back and do the quick fix, but then ultimately in the next month or so it's been completely repaired. So just kudos to you and your team. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other comments? Okay, all those in favour of the officer's recommendation, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thanks, Oliver.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thanks for your time.
Right, item 2, the lease of reserve, Taradale Park variation to the Greendale Tennis Club incorporated lease. So we've got Brian and Tania.
Morning. So obviously this item follows on from the presentation given earlier by the Greendale Tennis Club. So here we're seeking approval from council to vary the current lease to allow the clubhouse construction on the current leased area, and also seeking to vary the lease for another right of renewal for a further 10 years, just recognising the investment that hopefully will go into that area. As highlighted in the presentation, the clubhouse is within the existing lease area, so there's no further encroachment on Taradale Park. And as highlighted, just repeat that it is a transportable and single storage, so in terms of the impact on the sort of visual impact on the reserve. So we're happy to answer any questions, because obviously, there was a lot spelled out in the presentation, but I'm happy to answer any further questions.
Councillor Crown.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Chair. And it might, see if you guys can answer it. I thought of it after the presentation, sorry, team. I note that it needs to be publicly notified, and it says, if we get objections, I was wondering if they'd done any work so far, like asking Taradale Sports Association what they think of the plan, or has there been any further wider engagement on the proposal?
Not as far as council's been a part of. Would probably throw it back to them. They have, yes, okay.
Awesome. I'm just thinking from a risk management perspective when you go out. So okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, we got the answer. I saw 2 hands go up over there.
Yeah.
Mayor Wise.
Thank you, through the chair, and I guess it's a follow-on from Councillor Crown. With respect to the existing club rooms, who will be responsible for the ongoing sort of caretaking of that when Taradale Tennis moves, or Greendale Tennis moves to their new club room?
So the current setup with the Taradale Sports Association building is that council owns 51%, I believe, of that building already. That will continue. We're doing another piece of work with the TSA around occupying more of our space that's in there, because they are also growing in terms of football. They need more changing rooms. So I believe a few councillors are already aware of this. So just working through that with them currently as well. So in Taradale, sports seems to be growing across all the codes. So I think this building here is quite important, so the tennis club can, continue with their membership growth as well.
Yes, so just to reiterate, the lease for the existing pavilion is a separate lease with the Taradale Sports Association. So that carries on,
Great, thank you.
Yeah.
Councillor Bogue.
Yes, through you, Mr. Chair. How do we calculate the cost of the lease, and what is it over these kinds of facilities?
Well, in these cases, we are, in this case, we're simply leasing the ground, the reserve land, right? And the Greendale Tennis Club, in this case, will, pay for the construction of the building and the ongoing maintenance, the new clubhouse. So we charge, like with all our sports groups, simply it's a bit of a sort of a peppercorn rental really for the land. So we start with the premise that council's not really in the business of charging full market rent to sports groups and community groups. But however, those community groups do use council services in terms of they help into our water, sewerage, etc., stormwater. So we calculate what an equivalent residential rate would be for that land, and we charge that as the ground rent, and then it is discounted further by a community good depending on the nature of the organisation and the community good factor.
Cool, thanks.
Councillor Simpson? Then
Through Mr. Chair, I absolutely empathise with the issues raised. From my place, I can see the lights on at the tennis court late into the night, knowing that the public toilets and the toilets in the basement of the association building are actually locked at night. So I can understand their desire to have access to utilities within the court environment for the safety of their members. So my question is around access to the utilities. So the location of this building, does it have easement rights or access to easy access to utilities that exist, bearing in mind disruption to while they're doing the work to Simon's Lane, which is an extremely busy thoroughfare. So are there any limitations around getting access to power, water, sewer in the construction?
So if I could just initially answer. So as per D of the resolution, so the granting by council as the landowner is simply a first step in this process, as was mentioned, to enable them to continue with fundraising and getting their consents, their building consent. So the matter of services and what have you would be covered as part of the building consent application. So this is just a first step, and I'll just highlight that D of the resolution.
I can confirm, though, that there are services in Simon's Lane. Just getting access to them, we're not too sure, but obviously, like Brian says, further investigation will be needed.
Just one of those things would be unfortunate if at the last minute they discovered there weren't services available, you know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Councillor Crystal.
Through the chair, I had a similar question to Councillor Simpson, but does then the service, using the services, does that then change the lease? You know, you said it's a ground rental, then it's like services, you've got sewage, and does that change the lease at all, or does it just stay the same?
Well, this lease requires variation as per this agenda item because they're now constructing a building on there. In terms of the rental, as I previously explained, they are paying for the services being provided by council in terms of those three waters.
Not currently, though.
They actually are,
Okay.
as a ground rent.
Deputy Mayor Brosnan.
Thank you, team, for the paper. Question around the variation to the lease. Does the specific design that the club is looking at, is that a requirement to be set into the variation of the lease? For instance, I'm just following up on that thought, if the club did want to, in future, provide some more connection through to the surrounding laneway, or whatever they may want to do with that building into the future, are we going to need to have another variation to the lease, or does it provide the existing flexibility?
That's right. So the lease is the ground lease for that area, their current area, and the variation is authorising the construction of a building on that leased area, because the current lease is only for the courts, and the current reserves management plan for the Taradale Park does not sort of mention the building. So no, the interface with the lane and in future wouldn't really alter the lease, no.
Yeah, and just supplementary, so the specific design is not part of the lease, it's just a building?
In effect with the lease, yes.
Yeah. So we could just have the outline of where the building would be in that footprint. That's, probably the most information, we could include in that. So it allows for that flexibility. I think that's what you're seeking around the design,
Thank you, Mr. Chair, that's given me certainty.
Any other questions? Did you have a question?
No, happy to move.
Okay, moved by Councillor Mawson, second by Councillor Crown. Would you like to?
Yeah, fantastic. Well done to both teams, the Greendale Tennis Club and our staff, for working on this brilliant project. It's good to have a community organisation, sports organisation that can obviously see the benefits of safety, but while coming to a conclusion that unfortunately they have to sacrifice a court, but it's sort of a good arrangement for them, obviously, and I wish them all the best.
Yeah, thank you. Just briefly, it's fantastic to see the need for expansion like this, and noting the growth. I think the image of the junior program was particularly impressive, and so looking and working with our community to find solutions to things like safety, but also the growth, I think is just fantastic. So congratulations, Greendale. Looking forward to seeing how things come together.
Any other? Yeah.
Just through the chair, great to see the presentation today. Well done, team. And look, practical solution to the issues that you've put forward. Brilliant, and I wish you the best of luck with your fundraising, and sooner the better.
I've had 3 in favour. Anybody want to talk against it? No. So all those in favour with the officer's recommendation, please say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. Congratulations, you can start finding money, Bruce. So item 3 is licence for EV chargers on reserve land.
So this item is set out, seeks council approval to grant a licence to Meridian Energy Limited to install and operate EV charging stations at 2 council sites, being the Aquarium car park and the Flanders Avenue car park at Only Carwell Park. So both those sites are reserves, subject to the Reserves Act, and hence this item seeking council's approval pursuant to the Reserves Act. Just by way of background, I'll just highlight that, just a refresher, that council at the prosperous Napier meeting 29th of August approved an emissions reduction plan, which included the proposed proposal with Meridian as part of that emission reduction plan, but obviously because of the Reserves Act, we've had to come back to you today to get approval for the licences on those 2 particular sites. So I've got the expert here, so if there's any questions, happy to answer those.
Yes, through the chair. I'm just wondering if Meridian Energy or any other provider has intentions to actually put more charges in the future. Do you have any idea?
They are very open to that. These were the 2 sites that we identified initially as a team with the facility managers. So, but yes, Meridian's definitely interested in providing more charging locations if we have others that we think are suitable. And I have no doubt that there's other providers as well that would be interested.
Councillor McGrath.
Through the chair, just a couple of questions. This is just a straight commercial activity that they want to run on our reserves. Is that correct?
Correct. There's no cost to council. Meridian owns all the infrastructure. The people with the EVs pay for the electricity from the chargers. So, yeah.
So if a petrol station wanted to go onto one of our reserves, would we do the same thing?
No, this could be seen as for the convenience of the users of our reserve, so for the users of the aquarium and our aquatic centre and what have you. It's not exclusive to those users, but
it supports, so the community carbon footprint that was done by ACOM.
Could you speak it out loud?
Sorry. The Napier City Council's community carbon footprint that was calculated last year identified that emissions from transport are the largest source of emissions across Napier. So this is an opportunity for council to enable commercial operator Meridian to provide EV charging facilities which will help our community to decarbonise their transport options. The difference with the petrol station is that is fossil fuel. It's not contributing to decarbonisation at all. And the national government currently has a target to roll out 10,000 EV charging stations across the country. And they are providing funding through ECA. Meridian has partnered with ECA to access that funding as well.
Yeah. Just a couple more questions. I'm looking specifically at Flanders Ave because it's smack in the middle of a residential area, and where the charges would be, you'd almost, depending on what time of the day, you're going to have perhaps more activity in there. If they're charging at night time, you're going to have light spill and all sorts of various things. Will they have to go through a consenting process that will take care of all these sorts of things like any other business would have to do? I'm thinking when Pack and Save was built, they had to do all sorts of measures for traffic and light spill and all sorts of things.
Yes, it's all on Meridian to obtain any consents that are needed.
Yeah. And again, has anyone approached the residents of that street as yet?
Not as yet.
That'll do me for now.
Councillor Crystal, then Councillor Simpson.
Just through the chair, just thinking about our last paper, we had the tennis club who pay a lease for reserved land. Why aren't they paying a lease for this land?
Well, they're not really using council services. They're certainly using our land, but I suppose it's that is in the public interest. But they're not using any of our services. They'll pay for their own, obviously their own electricity that they're selling. They'll be paying for all that.
And I suppose the cost to install that kind of infrastructure is quite significant, can be up to $500,000 per charger. So I suppose they are seeing the benefit for council and our community with them footing the bill for that infrastructure investment.
They also make a lot of money, and it just seems like we're giving them a whole lot of land to put the EVs in. Just my
Okay. Was that a question?
Yeah, kind of.
Not sure how they're going to answer it.
Yeah.
Councillor Simpson?
Yeah, through you, Mr Chair. Ironically, that was one of my questions too, as to whether this was a lease arrangement. So I'll alter my question. The users are not restricted to Meridian customers?
No.
So it's a
Anybody
general
can
use,
go there.
anyone could rock
Anyone
up
can go.
and use that power source. And I've just lost my train of thought. I did have a second question. I'll let you go to another one.
Deputy Mayor Brosnan.
Thank you, team. So many questions. If it's all right with you, I will move through them. Am I correct in thinking that all our current EV chargers are in paid parking reserve rather than any other type of reserve?
In terms of council land, we only have one, the Dickens Street car park, which is Unison.
Yes, that was the only one I could think of. And so if I'm correct that all of our existing ones are in parking reserves, they're also all free to use currently, is that correct? So it's only the Unison?
No, you have to pay for the electricity that you put into your vehicle. They're not free.
Right. Maybe they started out free and
they may
transitioned.
have, but the Unison one is definitely not. There are some charges, like there's some at the warehouse, which are free. Some of the petrol stations, like the BP station at Bayview, has them as well, but they're not free to use. You have to pay. Just like you would pay for your petrol, you pay for your electricity to charge your car.
Thank you. Through you, Mr Chair, my second question is, if a park is designated with an EV charger, does it exclude anyone else parking in those parks? They need to be kept clear for...
Physically, no. I mean, they would be... they paint them with an EV symbol to designate that it's EV charging, but if someone came along and parked in it in a normal car, there's not really anything we could do about that, and that would actually be Meridian's issue, not council's.
Okay. If council was of the view to approve the placements, I don't see anything in the resolution around consistency with other bylaws. So I'm concerned that a number of the spaces that we have identified might be subject to current conversations around bylaw changes, and I would like more flexibility in the exact positioning to accommodate in terms of priority. First, council enacting its bylaw, and then second, the appropriateness of placement of the EV chargers. And I just wonder, I think the current wording, for instance, the aquarium identifies particular sites. Could we change that to be anything within the footprint? Or are those sites the only sites that are appropriate in that parking lot?
They've been identified as the most suitable because they're close to the transformer, Unison transformer, and also with speaking with the facility managers at the aquarium, that they recommended those sites as most suitable. But what are the particular bylaws you're thinking about, concerned about?
I'm just conscious we're in public and the bylaws that are currently in development, so possibly not at a level of public consultation. So
Sure.
I'm just asking the question around flexibility of locations to be consistent with what is now the ongoing development of some draft bylaws.
Okay, so there's still definitely flexibility with the agreements with Meridian. We haven't signed anything because we obviously need to come to you first as a first step. But the locations that have been identified were because of the proximity to the transformer.
I might be able to assist here because I have had a conversation about this and been assured that the placement of this particular park would not be an issue with any other potential bylaw changes that may be in the pipeline.
Thank you, that's really helpful.
Yeah,
thank you. And through you, Mr. Chair, my final question, and obviously we haven't signed anything yet. An assumption would be that the make good would be on the contractor. So if they're digging through any parking lot,
Correct.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Councillor McGrath.
Yeah, just through the chair. Brian, you might be better suited to answer this one. For our other commercial activities that we run on reserve land, such as Lick This and Magnet Caf, do they pay a full commercial rent?
Lick This does, yes.
Lick This
yes.
does?
Yeah. Yep.
But we're not looking to do the same for Meridian?
No, I suppose, as I interpret it, the public good in terms of our emission reduction targets. So no, that's not. And my understanding is throughout the country, the other sites don't charge rent. That's as I understand it, the scheme.
Yeah, the reason I say that is because I think Zed's just put in some charges on their site in Kennedy Road. Are we looking to give them a rates reduction in any shape or form? Because obviously their charges will be deemed for public good as well. So if we're starting to set precedents on public good based on charges, I'm not sure where it could start and where it could end. I think if you're running a commercial activity, you're running a commercial activity.
Difficult to answer that. The proposal submitted by Meridian is
I don't
rent-free.
see that as really what this paper's about at the moment. It's about whether we grant permission to put the stations on our car parks, and I think it's quite clear that it's us getting on the bandwagon or the into the waka to help with the sky. It was.
Thank you, through the chair. So just to confirm, what we're proposing to enter into with this agreement with Meridian is consistent with what other councils have been signing up for around the country?
I believe so, but yeah, I can definitely confirm.
It would be
that.
quite good to
Yes.
just get confirmation.
I know they are working with a number of other councils, definitely in Wellington.
I could probably assist with that. It is, in previous councils and previous roles, yes, these are the same conditions that they do ask councils for. Yep.
Thank you very much.
Councillor Simpson.
Yeah, through you, Mr Chair. My question would have been around the exclusivity of this arrangement. In other words, is there any restriction if another provider chose to come and approach us and say, oh, can we put 5 EV charging parks? Is there anything in this arrangement to prevent that from happening?
It is an exclusive agreement for those particular sites.
Yep.
Yes.
But if somebody else wanted to put parks in elsewhere in the reserve area, there's no deal, no exclusivity deal.
Correct. We're not restricted to only working with Meridian, only on those 2 sites if we agree to sign the lease agreement. But
Yep. And my other question was very similar to Mr McGrath, Councillor McGrath's, and that is, if the Sunday market, if they use one of our reserves, do we charge them for using one of our reserves?
Yes. Yes, they pay for the weeks they use the reserve down there.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Brosnan.
Thank you. I think this conversation around the commercial activity on reserve is relevant. And so my question is, do we have a policy around commercial activities on reserves? And what does that policy say?
It's generally dealt with on a case-by-case basis, so we would always come back to council for that approval. I mean, it's got to comply with the Reserves Act, so we've sought a legal opinion on this particular proposal and that it would be legitimate under the Reserves Act, subject to your approval. And in general, those commercial activities on reserves have to be, well, they're for the convenience of people using the reserve, so the coffee carts and what have you. So the Reserves Act specifies that we can have commercial activities on reserves, provided they are there for the convenience of those using the reserve.
Good. Tania, would you be able to help out on this, on the Reserves Act? Covered it?
He's covered it. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Through you, Mr Chair, not quite sure I got the answer I was looking for. Do we have a policy on commercial activities on reserves, and what does that policy say? Acknowledging the Reserves Act conversation, which I think is sorted, what does our policy say?
Look, I'd have to research that and get back to you. I just don't have that top of my head, but we can certainly research that.
Do you want to take that as an action?
No, not happy. I think if we've got the question was, am I happy? And I think the answer is no, because if we have a policy, I'd like to know what it says. And I think the answer is we do have a policy. Yeah.
Councillor Simpson.
Sorry, no.
No?
Through Mr Chair, just a suggestion. There's a few questions here that, for me to make an informed decision, I would like answered. So I'm just wondering whether or not it's a suggestion to maybe lay this on the table. Is there anything that Meridian need now, right now? I mean, they want to obviously progress straight away, or is there any urgency to this paper?
Does it jeopardise the funding, the government funding?
I would have to go back to Meridian and check what the timeframe is for accessing for them accessing that co-funding with ECA. Yeah.
Other than that,
yeah, no.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Councillor Mawson. That's a good idea. So we'll.
Sorry, through the chair, just noting we do have a council meeting next week, 31st of October, which it could come to as a late paper if there are some timing issues to be considered.
Otherwise, there's one on the 12th of December.
There's also one on the 7th of November.
Oh, okay.
And I'm sure there'll be several more before the end of the year.
So we'll table the paper, and will you have time to have all these answers by what date did you say new was?
31st of October or 7th of November.
We'll put it to the 7th of November and give time for the paper to go through. Is that all right?
Okay. 7th of November. Yeah.
Okay, do I have a mover for that? Councillor Mawson, seconded by Councillor Crown. Thanks very much.
Crystal.
Paper's finished.
Crystal.
Crystal.
Can I make a note there, Chair, to the Chair? Just a quick Google. Waikato Council have guidelines for electric vehicle supply equipment on council land.
Sorry, what council was that, sorry?
Waikato.
Waikato.
Guidelines for electric vehicle supply equipment on council land. That was just the first one that popped up. So that obviously is policies that other councils have for this.
Okay, thank you.
That's okay.
Yes, I'd like to speak against this resolution. I'd like to see this voted on today. I agree with what's been said about this is for community good. We're trying to do all we can to reduce emissions. We are a tourist town. People with electric vehicles need to be able to charge their vehicles up. And if we wait to get a policy, it'll be this time next year, basically. It'll have to go out for consultation. So I would like to see us take the bull by the horns here. So I'm opposed to tabling this because I think this is an important issue for us, and I'm sure we'll find other councils have placed these on reserves. But waiting for a policy is, I think...
Point of order, I didn't say anything about a policy.
No.
Well, I thought that tabling it was in order to look at the possibility of a policy.
I think one of the questions would be if we have a reserve...
Current policy.
Current policy, which there's talk that we do have, but we don't know it. So that would be to decide that. I think what Councillor Crystal came up with is part
I still am voting
going into that paper. So I'm not going to sit around scrapping on this. It's been tabled for the 7th of November. All those in favour, please say aye.
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 Against?
Yep.
Carried. Item 4. Lease of reserve Taradale Park, Taradale Senior Citizens. Brian and
Yes, so here we're seeking approval from council pursuant to the Reserves Act to grant a new ground lease to Taradale Senior Citizens Association. They have been on the Taradale Park for over 40 years. Current lease has expired, so we just need to grant a new lease in renewal of the old lease. There have been no issues with Taradale Senior Citizens Association as a tenant of council land. So, yeah, happy to answer any questions.
Councillor Brown.
Kia ora, yeah, through the chair. I've lost my annotations on my thing, so I'm pretty sure I'm on the right thing. So we have the rider renewal on this for the next thing, which kind of locks council in. I was wondering, just in our standard lease agreement, what are the provisions in the unforeseen circumstances that the leasee wants to get out of the lease? Is there provision for them to end the lease early if they should want to?
Well, I suppose it becomes sort of political, really. If they become defunct or go into recess, we would have to come back to council to exit that lease. I mean, I suppose strict letter of the law, you could make them stay there, but probably not really advisable for a community good. And in the leases, there's always the option of that council can demand that the improvements be removed and the land is made good, or at council's option, the improvements revert back to council. So under the Reserves Act, at the expiry of any lease or the termination of any lease, the improvements revert back to council.
Okay.
And also at the time of renewal, so we're saying 15 years with a further right of renewal. At renewal time under the Reserves Act, council has the ability to consider whether that land is required for a better use for any other recreational purpose. So there is a reconsideration at the end of the renewal period, and that's specified in the Reserves Act.
It's a lease renewal, isn't it? It's a rollover. Yeah.
It's a renewal and
Yeah.
a renewal.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Councillor Simpson.
Yeah, through you, Mr Chair. Just on consistency, 15 plus 15, is that consistent with the other users?
Yes, that's what we do with the other community groups, sports groups on reserve land.
Thank you.
No other questions? We have a mover, Councillor Crystal, seconded by Councillor Simpson. Councillor Crystal.
Oh, this is just an easy decision to roll this over. These people are quite an active group and they do a lot of things in this space. The one thing I know they've been asking us for a long time, this is just a little note, is actually a road sign so people know how to get to them, because there's no sign.
Could I just defer to our transportation manager?
He knows.
Okay, Councillor. Councillor Simpson.
Yeah, through you, Mr Chair. Yeah, the association offers an invaluable service to our older community members. It's a social environment. They offer a couple of lunches a week where there's social interaction with the members, and I think that the continuation of their lease just demonstrates the value they add to our community.
Thank you. Any other comments? Those in favour of the officer's recommendation, please say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. Item 5, land purchase transfer, Te Awa Ave.
Yeah, this is a bit of a tidy up, so we're seeking council's approval to acquire a small piece of land which is currently part of the formed Te Awa Avenue footpath just outside the Te Awa Primary School. And so this is really just a legalisation of that, where we acquire that from the Crown under the Public Works Act. So I just need a resolution of council as set out on the resolution just to proceed with that transfer from the Crown to council, investing that as road.
Have any questions? It's moved by Councillor Mawson, seconded by Councillor Gregg.
No brainer, straightforward. Thank you. Thank you, Brian.
All those in favour of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. I'm just going to take a 5-minute adjournment. I've seen everybody else walk out of here and I need to. Thank you.
No, now I would have waited. Could have waited.
And we'll move on to stormwater improvements since 220, Napier's flood. Away we go.
Good morning. Yeah, thanks through the chair. Thank you for the opportunity to just report back on what we've done since the 2020 floods. Yeah, I'll ask the council to receive the report as read, and I'll take you through some slides and whatever questions, just fire them at me.
So my first question will be the typo across to the George's Drive Creek, is it Richard? You know, the one that should have a preventer stopping the water flowing from the typo into Mariwa. Have I got that right?
No.
I think you might be talking about the Puramu.
Is that by the expressway?
To the old Tutaikuri.
By the Puramu pump station.
Yeah.
Old Puramu pump station.
Yeah.
That's it. That's good.
Is that not typo?
No, typos on the...
Not helping.
It was close.
Yeah.
Yeah, through the chair, yeah. There is a project underway that is installing a control gate there. The control gate was due in Napier yesterday. I'm not sure if it's landed yet, but so that is imminent, the installation of that gate.
When was that ordered, that gate?
I believe it was it might have been 3 months or 6 months ago. I can't remember exactly.
Thank you. Questions? Councillor Reid?
Oh, yes, through you, Mr. Chair. On page 33, the cross-country swale to avoid flooding on nearby streets. Could you just explain how that works?
Cross-country swale. Which one are you referring to?
Page 33.
33. Oh, sorry, I've not got the full agenda
Oh, no, sorry, that's
with
fine.
me.
Hey, sorry, I might have just, when you said take the paper as read, you have got a presentation.
Yeah, there is a presentation
Oh, sorry. Go
as
ahead
well.
with that.
So yeah, I've just got a few slides just around some of the improvements. Page 33. Cross-country drain swale. Yes, I think this is around how the water got into the cross-country drain from the water that was coming from the stop bank breach, and some of it made its way down the street back into Te Awa rather than spilling directly into the cross-country drain. So that is a project that's underway. So yeah, feel free to ask questions on anything, but I'll talk through some of the major things that are going on. The Regional Park Stormwater Project, Lagoon Farm, so that is in the design stage now. We've recently received a high-level options report, which is progress. There's been some work on site at the Lagoon Farm, installing piezo sensors to measure the groundwater. So that's kind of a key component of the design, is establishing where the groundwater levels sit as to how we can either construct wetlands or where the spill storage, flood storage will go. During the mid part of last year, we had a condition assessment on all of our above ground assets. So we'd identified that we had a really big gap in our asset database. Possibly about 2/3 to 3/4 of our assets weren't actually registered in our asset registers, so it makes asset management quite tricky, as well as not having the conditions. So as part of that work, we had conducted a condition assessment and then following that, some criticality work to just establish which of our assets, how our assets stack up against each other in terms of criticality, so that can help inform what we prioritise. This is just an example of the condition scores from the stormwater pump stations. So for the most part, actually not too bad. A lot of maintenance work had been carried out between the 2020 floods and last year. So a lot of our pumps were overhauled. A lot of work on electrical gear. So yeah. So the condition assessment, 0 is like a new, and 5 is like it needs to be replaced already. And so we're sitting on an average around 1.5. Just a few other little upgrades that have gone on. We've put weather monitoring stations in, so we actually get live or maybe like on a 15-minute update, we get rainfall data, wind speed and direction, all of that sort of stuff, and it's quite interesting just to see how during different rain events, different areas receive can be quite affected quite differently. So yeah, some of that information will help calibrate our models for the stormwater.
Just a question, if I may, Mr. Chair. Is that information available on our website?
We were looking at making it public. At the moment, I don't believe it is, but it's nothing we're trying to hide. Yeah. Another thing we installed recently, some cameras. So these cameras take a snapshot every hour, and and upload it into our systems or into a web page that we can access. So this is this helps the operations team monitor the screens during rain events. It's quite handy to be able to not have to attend site to actually see what's going on.
So just on that, you're able to watch them live as well, not just relying on the hourly snapshot?
No, it takes an hourly snapshot. We can probably adjust that, but it's about data.
Yep.
And the comms side of it. So yeah, it's a lot more intensive and on the power usage well. So at the moment it's just set on an hourly snapshot, but yeah.
Through the chair, can I just ask a question on that one? Your on-site cameras at your pump stations, if the power goes out, are they hooked up to the generator system or a backup power source?
Through the chair, they're actually on solar, so they're on batteries. Yeah, so they operate on a 3G or 4G network and on batteries that are solar powered. So yeah, they're basically resilient to power out.
Awesome.
Yep. This is just a table showing the new generators we bought that arrived early-ish last year. So yeah, 21 new generators that we purchased as part of a follow-up to the 2020 floods. Here's a picture of one. So installed at the county old pump station. And just these are the trailerised ones, so these can be deployed to any of our wastewater or smaller water pump stations. I think we had purchased 7 fairly large units for the stormwater pump stations, and then a whole lot of portable units, varying in load capacity.
Through you, Mr. Chair, and all of those 21 are now functioning as designed?
They're available to be used. They're not all, so these trailerised ones would be deployed as needed. The some of the fixed ones are in place, not all of them yet, but they would be able to be deployed in an emergency. So the intent is they will all be permanently installed at the stormwater pump stations, so they'll be available immediately. That's a project we're working through.
But that's a work in progress at
Yep.
the moment.
Yep.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
So we've done a huge amount of work in our SCADA network, so that's just building our high-speed radio network. We've got so much more real-life, real-time data from all of our stormwater sites. Pre-2020 floods, I think we had real basic, we may have been able to tell if there was pump was running and if there was a fault, and that's probably about it. All of our pump stations have now been upgraded, and we pull in a whole lot of data. We can see this live, so we can see trends of upstream and downstream levels, which pumps are running, and also tell how much current the pump's pulling, if there's if it's pulling more current than usual, if there's problems. So this just helps our team and the operations team at the depot just analyse things, and they could see it happening in real time. This is just an example of this picture of the old screen at the Onehunga pump station. So it was, as you can see, not in the greatest condition. See, trying to run a rake along the bars there, not particularly easy. And there was some real health and safety issues out there as well, like the platform was well underwater during the 2020 event, so that operators couldn't even access the screen to clear it. So yeah, there's a picture of the new screen with the access platform. So now the operators can actually access it when the drain is high, and a nice straight new screen to be able to clean. This is a picture of one of the pumps at Cross Country Drain. So this is just some pump maintenance. So the pumps are removed, sent away for overhaul, getting the bearings replaced and checking the motors and all of the stuff that we do. So a lot of our pump stations now have had been completely overhauled or maintained since the 2020 event. I believe there's one more of the pumps at Cross Country due to be removed, but these pumps are probably one of our youngest, because I think this pump station was only 10 years old. So it's a reasonable maintenance period for a pump. These are an example of some flood barriers that we installed. So I think this is Latham Street wastewater pump station. So during the 2020 event, water basically went under the doors, under the roller doors and the main access door, and halfway filled up the dry well. And we were fairly lucky that none of our pumps took on any water or died during that event, because that would have been an extra major on top of what was already a pretty major. So these flood barriers basically just stop water from getting into the pump station.
Can I ask a question, please? What's happening on Latham Street now by Riverbend? There's obviously some major pipe renewals or something. Is that wastewater, stormwater? It's been going on for a few
Sorry, through the chair, I'm thinking outside the pump station, I know we've got a fair bit of work going on with the wastewater pipe renewal. I'm not too sure about Riverbend Road end, but it's coming, I believe it's from the pump station back towards...
It's moving down
towards So there's about 300 metres of wastewater main that was end of life, and we're just going through a renewal process there at the moment.
Great.
So these on the store, the bits down the bottom, they obviously, the water didn't come up any higher than that in the floods?
No, the water was about halfway up, I believe, those, but because it was above the floor level, it was flooding into the dry well, and the dry well pump couldn't keep up. They are removable, so they only deployed in an event. So yeah, normally the flood barriers would be removed, but they basically have a channel that you can just slot them into real quick and basically keep water out. There's there's a bit of a trial going on with some Tetra traps. So these are just small screen type devices that can be retrofitted into existing manhole or sumps. So they just trap gross pollutants and sediment and keep it out of the network.
Is that trial taking place now?
I believe so. I think the Alliance might be able to answer that question. They're working through it, apparently.
Yep.
Last but not least, a gate. This is our new gate for the culvert and the expressway. So, I mean, it's quite a big beast, but that will allow us to basically control the flow between those two channels. And yeah, so during rain events, we'll be able to basically close the gate to keep water from backing up into the old Tutakuri, which affects the 3 pump stations feeding that.
That's my gate.
We might get a plaque made.
Yeah.
Yes, Crystal.
Through the chair, I remember after the 2020 floods asking if I could give someone $1 million, what would they do first? And one of the things was the culverts under Taradale Road. So is that a project because that was a big issue for the water to get out from Georges Drive at the time?
Yeah, through the chair, yes, that is a project that's happening at the moment. So,
Herrick and Taradale.
yeah.
Herrick and Taradale.
Yeah. We kind of moved forward on Herrick, and there's been a few hurdles. So we're going to bundle them two culverts together and try and get the construction underway. Yep.
NZTA, Whakakotahia, Taradale Road.
Yes, I remember that. So, yeah.
Herrick's a lot easier.
Hey? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but there's issues around the consent doing Herrick first. So that was where our hurdle came up.
Carol,
Thanks.
Yeah.
have you got a question?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, away you go.
Thank you, through the chair. Thank you for your report. Obviously, you haven't been sitting on your hands since 2020. We've done a lot. Just wondering, with all of those projects, can we say whether there's been an increase in the level of service in terms of stormwater removal from our city, or has it stayed about the same, or can we give an overview?
Through the chair, I mean, I wasn't working here in 2020, but what I can say is there's been a lot, even just operationally, that we've changed. So the way we respond to wet weather events now, we're proactive in our approach. All of the pumps are operating as they should. I know in 2020 there was pumps that weren't operational. There was things at various sites that weren't running 100%. So I would say we're in a better position now. But yeah, a lot of our projects are very large scale and take a lot of time and effort to even just to get scope correct. So yeah, I know there's a desire for us to deliver on them, and we are working full steam to do that. But we're also mindful of the quality of the outcome and getting it right.
Supplementary. So what I'm hearing is that there's been lots of great improvements within our operations and how we're going to operate our system. I'm aware that we have different levels of service in terms of like 1 in 10 years, 1 in 50 years. Have we seen any move in those levels across the city?
Through the chair, yeah, I couldn't demonstrate a change in that because it's really hard to measure on an event by event basis. Every event's unique. Russell.
Yeah, just to add to that, it's quite hard to, when you're making those operational improvements, to model that in terms of giving that an answer in terms of level of service, and it's usually with the built environment, or when you have those major projects that Phil was talking about, like the Maraenui IAF project and the 2 culverts as well. So once we get those sorts of projects in place, we can then do the modelling in that sense. It's just the operationally, the improvements we've given the operators better tools to make better, quicker calls and to deploy resources into those areas that need it. So I guess our responsiveness is a lot quicker. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Brosnan, then Crown, then Simpson.
Thank you, Phil, for the report and the presentation. Difficult question, I guess, and it's been really good to see what has been done. I guess the question that instantly comes to mind is what hasn't been done. And so my question to you is sort of what is the highest priority piece of work that hasn't got past scoping stage yet, that's kind of, for whatever complexity reason, not progressing, that probably needs to, and how best to report that through to council, and what can we do to support that is kind of my line of thinking.
Through the chair, yeah, you're right, that is a tricky question, what hasn't been done. I guess, one of our priorities is the master plan update, which we're currently scoping. So that's, I guess, an example, but a majority of our projects are in progress. So we are making progress, and so I guess there's some future projects that haven't begun yet, and that's kind of hard to answer. Yeah, Russell.
Yeah, no, I probably add I guess some of the key projects that the likes of Lagoon Farm, the regional park, that one is a project that was identified to give a citywide benefit in terms of offline storage. So we identified that early in the last master plan as a project that could provide citywide benefit. So and we report that through the capital program reporting, and we have other ways there. And probably the question, I believe, Councillor Crystal was talking about the Herrick Street culverts were one that were raised last time, and it is still quite a priority given that in those channels, the larger channels of water to get the water flowing out of the city they're quite the key sort of waterway and the bottlenecks, I guess, in trying to keep places like Maraenui and Whitmore, free of ponding water. So they're still quite key projects, and I guess that's, those are the projects that unfortunately have quite a large sort of investigation design component to them to get them right, because they're a significant investment for the city, and we do want to make sure we get those right to provide that safety for the public. Hopefully.
Thank you through the chair. Thank you, Deputy Mayor Brosnan, for clearly articulating my jumbled thoughts. So thanks for that question. My other question, however, is I have to admit, humans, we're headline people, right? So when I saw the title of this paper, I was very excited because it is actually one of the things that our community asks me about most frequently, or offer their own opinion on, or regurgitate things that they've heard before. So I'm wondering if there's opportunity for us to use this paper and to actually put it on our website somewhere so that we've got a place to send people to. I know that we have a stormwater page, could just be a link included there. It talks about how much we're going to spend over the next 10 years, and then it goes off into our specific projects. But I think this catch-all is actually something that's really helpful and useful for us as elected members when we're out in the community. dealing with questions and comments, etc. So thank you very much for this paper.
Sorry, it's just, this paper will be on the website, well, on our Facebook page, etc., but the presentation wouldn't be, would it, that you've given?
Through the chair, yeah, we can work on getting some more material on our website. We do try to keep some key things up to date. Try not to water it down, I guess, to too much detail. We want to focus on the big things, but yeah, happy to take advice on that and do some more.
I think just a link to this paper
Yeah.
on the website, on the
Yep.
stormwater page would be excellent, and it would just be called Stormwater Improvements since 2020 Napier Flood, and boom, click on it.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Councillor Simpson.
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, thank you for the update. I think it's the list of things that needed to be done post that flood event was phenomenal, and the fact that you've given us a good update, and the fact that you've been upfront about a couple of things that are still needing to be done, I think gives us reassurance that you guys are onto it, and you've got a good handle on what needs to be done and the sequence in which things need to be done. You know, Napier is made up of a number of catchments. You know, people see Napier as being flat, the rain falls and the water disappears, but if the rain lands in a different place, then a whole different pumping and network system is required. So thank you for the updates. I was just wondering if you could take us back to your second to last slide. That one there. Can you just explain what's happening there? Is this about diverting matter?
Yeah.
Instead of it going down the drains and things, is this about, and so does that then increase observation and maintenance requirements?
Through the chair, yes, it does. They kind of, they're a bit finer than a gross pollutant trap, but they basically catch rubbish and leaves and some sediment. So yes, it does require a maintenance of it, so you need to remove it and clean it, as well as clean the sump more frequently, because the sump is actually filling up with the solid matter, I guess. So yeah, there is an increased component of
Having
maintenance.
taken the matter out, does that make the pumping network and the flow systems more efficient?
Yes, well, it keeps the material from blocking the leads in the pipes, so hydraulically it operates more effectively, and it also keeps that pollution out of the waterways and the discharge environment.
Thank you for that, because I think this is one of these improvement steps where we're doing a number of things. Instead of just fixing a problem, we're actually looking holistically at some of the other things that we need to resolve. So I think going down this track is really helpful. Thank you.
Councillor Greg.
Through Mr. Chair, yeah, just a quick comment. Is that okay? Comment?
Well, we're asking questions.
Oh, okay, right.
Kia ora.
Councillor Terry.
Kia ora. Just got some concerns regarding fish passage, and just wondering if you could provide some reassurance that measures have been implemented or been planned to ensure safe fish passage. And yeah, has it been maintained or improved?
Through the chair, yeah, there has been a bit of work done around sort of high level design of what fish passage and fish screens might look like on various pump stations. So those standards are changing, and HBRC's likely to, you know, the level of I guess input we're going to have to do to improve is coming, and you know, we've identified that as a future requirement, but we haven't done a lot, is what I'll, I guess, finish with. We've done some real high level stuff, but we're not, yeah.
I could probably, just add to that. I know, we're partnering with regional council as well. I know the team because we have a combined stormwater consent. So part of the design is looking at fish passage at our key pump stations that Phil's talking about. I know they're looking at the ones with the pump stations in Awatoto, just with the rebuild and looking at what fish passage might look like there as well. So they're using the same company that we've been talking to about fish passage for the rest of our city. So yeah, I know it's active at the moment, but physically probably haven't seen it yet. So, but it is a project we'd like to bring to showcase for council as well. So yeah.
I'd just like to pick up on and expand on the comments made by Councillor Crown, her suggestions about making this information more available. It's very impressive. Thank you very much to your whole team for all the work that's been done since 2020. And I think there's a lot of misunderstanding and misinformation out there in the public. And while it would be great to have links, you know, a page and a links and the presentation and all that sort of thing, I'm wondering if our comms team could perhaps put something a little bit more simpler, perhaps with those links on it together, just to reassure the public, just as I've been reassured by the presentation that you've made today, because it's made a huge difference. And if we were to have another 2020 storm, obviously the outcome would be quite different because of the improvements that have been made. Yes.
Through you, the Chair. With the anniversary fast approaching, it's a good opportunity for us to do a comms piece around this, so we will be doing that, and then it will be available on the website as well.
Good. Excellent. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Of a mover?
Yep.
Councillor Brown, seconder. Councillor Crown.
Greg want to make a comment.
Did you want to comment?
Oh, yeah, through the chair. Just to follow on from Councillor Crown and Councillor Bogue, I think the public are very interested in this, and I really enjoyed seeing the photographs because this is a very technical, complicated subject, and it really makes it more obvious and easier to sort of digest. So thank you for that.
Councillor Brown.
Yeah, kia ora. Through the chair, just really want to show support for what you've done. As you were speaking, I took some notes, so I'm just going to summarise what I heard. So since 2020 floods, we've made repairs to maintain our level of service. We're trialling new equipment to reduce problems downstream. We're improving our level of control of stormwater during emergencies. We're using technology to work smarter, not harder. We're increasing our response resilience and improving data collection and analysis, leading to better decision making and faster response. So just wanted to celebrate what you've done and receive the paper.
Second. Well done and a good presentation and thrashed out. So onwards and upwards. So all those in favour of the officer's recommendation, please say aye.
Aye.
Against? Carried. Thank you.
Hey, cheers.
Right, next item
Standing committee.
is amendment to standing committee schedule.
Happy to move. Happy to second.
Let me find it. Okay, all those in favour, please say aye.
Aye. Did we get a seconder?
Deputy Mayor Brosnan.
Excellent.
No, I did that.
Thanks, Anna.
On the capital plan.
Thanks, Anna.
Russell.
And our last item, is it? Final item, capital plan delivery. Russell.
Yes, thank you. So I'm happy to take the report as read. There is, just in addition to the report, my apologies just with the timing of this information, we've got a tabled, which I seem to have lost. Here we go. A tabled work program from the Transportation Department, which we have Robin here who can answer questions on that as well. So it's all part of our program to look at, give more transparency into what sort of capital projects are going on around the city and the time, particularly with roading projects in terms of timing. We try and manage those through the events to try, like Oliver mentioned earlier this morning, so that we're working in and around our road users, and so that we're not a burden, I guess, to the city itself. So, so happy to take questions.
Any questions? Councillor McGrath.
Yeah. Just looking very quickly at the roading plan here, I see there's 2 raised intersections. Is that, I guess, into the future? Do we have a better option available than raised intersections? Because I know around the countryside it's getting a lot of angst from emergency services, the likes of fire engines who are now going to cardiac arrests and vital things, and they're saying they just can't get there as fast as they used to be able to. Trucking firms are struggling, buses are struggling. Is there something we can do that isn't raised crossings? And I know where we do have some raised crossings in our residential areas, the community are suffering because of the noise and various bits when trucks and utes hit them with all their tools jumping. Do we have some better options or something different?
So through you, Chair, I guess there are always options for everything. We don't have a particularly dependable enforcement regime, just because the police are totally stretched. We do find that the more sort of courtesy-based interventions don't tend to be as effective, unfortunately. So, the vertical displacement is generally the most effective. We do absolutely understand that there are some users who struggle with those, and I guess we are trying to refine the design of them the whole time. It's difficult to find a balance between it being easy to drive over and not causing problems for the emergency services, for instance, and being effective. So I guess it's an ongoing thing, but we are in ongoing dialogue with the emergency services, just to make sure that we're doing the right thing. At the same time, there was a very well documented comment from FENS recently, which was partly reported in the papers. The other part of that document was saying we do appreciate and we'd rather be doing losing a couple of seconds in a journey than having to scrape more people up off the road, which is, I guess, probably a little bit emotive of me to say, but it is an acknowledged thing from FENS that traffic calming is warranted and is beneficial, and we are, but they're not going to be popular with everybody, and that's, I guess, the position we're in. We're managing a finite road space with an awful lot of different users and an awful lot of different demands and desires from that road space, and finding the balance of that. You'll note one of the locations for the raised intersection here is James Foley, Bill Hercott, which we tried a small roundabout and intervention. That was a trial. We're not comfortable that it's achieved all of the outcomes that we were seeking, and that's why we're proposing a raised intersection, which is actually what the neighbours have suggested as an alternative to what's there. So, the neighbours, and I think Councillor Mawson's been in contact with some of those neighbours. So, I guess we don't put them in lightly. We're aware that the government isn't particularly keen on them, but we are also aware that we've got a community that we're trying to keep safe and look after as well as we can.
Just a further question to you, Richard. That question, are you suggesting looking for better alternatives or not doing anything?
Better alternatives, not doing anything. I mean, like you said, doesn't have the support of the government.
Yeah.
And residents I know who live near them certainly don't support the noise that comes with them either.
Any other questions? No? So just further to this paper, Russell has an announcement that's come from our previous meeting in relation to Onslow Steps.
So I was just wondering, probably if Robin wanted to comment on the work done on Onslow Steps.
Sorry, yes.
Yes, sorry.
Again, so to Chair, we weren't sure whether to include this as a management comment earlier. So this is in relation to a report that was considered in public excluded at the last meeting that was relating to the closure of the Onslow to Brewster walkway. Now, the reason it was in public excluded is this committee decided that it was better to speak to the affected neighbours prior to it becoming public. That work's been done. We've had a couple of meetings with those residents, and Councillors Brown and yourself, Chair, have obviously met with those residents. So we're now in a position where the report can be brought out of public excluded. And
would it be, just further to that, you are working with the residents to come up with some options of how that land will be dealt with?
Yes, we are.
Just to clarify the reason it was in PX, was it because of the land issue, not necessarily about the residents?
What, I don't know what you're asking, sorry.
Oh, just my understanding of the reason it was in public excluded wasn't so much about keeping the residents informed, the local ones. It was more around the fact that there was a potential sale and purchase of land.
That's correct, yes.
Yeah.
Yep, sorry.
So yeah, just clarifying the reason we couldn't.
Sorry, clarifying that, yes.
Yeah,
Sorry, Councillor Brown. Yep.
There's been, the community have been keen to understand why the process didn't go through proper consultation processes. So this was, just wanting to make sure that that's clear, that it was because potential land purchase was part of the discussion.
Correct. There was, one of the options proposed a potential purchase of neighbouring land. So yes, correct.
Thank you.
Righto, getting back to the capital plan delivery. You've got a question?
I do, sorry.
Yes,
apologies.
yeah, no worries.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I love the dashboard, guys. It's, I think we've really stepped up our reporting, so thank you. But I did note in the Three Waters 3-year program, about a quarter of the stuff is being deferred, and I'm just wondering if you could outline the reasons for that.
Yep, I'll just call on Phil Kelson again.
Thank you. It just seemed like quite a slab of stuff. So.
I'm not looking at the dashboard, but there's essentially we through our last LTP process we were asked to deliver a program that was deliverable. So essentially prioritising things, prioritising our projects, and some of them have had to just be put on the back burner until we have the resources to deliver them.
So thank you, supplementary. So they've been pushed out. We know it says deferred, pushed.
Yeah, they're still in the plan.
Okay.
Yeah,
but just not in that 3-year program.
Correct.
Okay.
Sorry if I could add to that. Yeah, there's been a lot of work reprioritising the programs. So, excuse me, we've had some of the critical projects like the Maraenui IAF, where we've had agreements with central government and the other funding sources. We've prioritised those projects. Also with meeting legislative compliance for drinking water and some of those projects. So we've had to really readjust some of the program, and so a lot of it's a timing and priority issue is more. So that's where you'll see some of those with some of those timing changes.
Cool,
Yep.
thank you. That makes sense.
Yeah, Councillor Brown?
Can I ask a procedural question related to that? If we've said in our long-term plans and annual plans that we're going to complete this work, and then we've pushed it out, is there anything procedurally that we should be doing, like an annual plan amendment or long-term plan amendment?
Yes, so a part of it is through our reporting and through our annual and quarterly reporting process. So we'll report status or changes in program, and so that's how we report those changes. And when we go through another annual plan process, we'll recommit a program, and so then that's through the public consultation process. So yeah.
Any other questions? Councillor Bogue.
Yes, just going back to the roading plan, if I could ask a question about the Mariwa shops. I see that's been scheduled for April 25. What is it exactly? What does it look like? Does it look like the original plan with a separation between the car park and the road?
So through you, Chair, at the moment we're just looking at separation along that section. So there was a much broader project proposed. All we're looking at the moment is just to protect part of that route through, just to rationalise the movement a little bit and protect the cycle lane and the through traffic. But it's not like a complete comprehensive project as we were previously looking at.
So, excuse me, is it that concrete raised platform, or is it just a bit like they have on Māori Road for Onikawa?
A lot more similar to Māori Road, yeah. So we're not proposing anything across Kennedy at the moment. There is some funding in the next financial year for that area, but at the moment we're just trying to deal with the largest risk. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? I have a mover for this paper, please. Councillor Brown, seconded by Councillor Mawson. Anything to say?
Thank you for the increased level of sort of dashboard type reporting. It's really good to get it like that. And I suppose a challenge, and I know it's a curly one, but then reflecting where all these projects are at to the implications it has on the level of service. I know that's a curly challenge to attack, though.
No. Anybody else wish to comment? All those in favour, please say aye.
Aye.
Against, carried. Just before I close, there's one question. Furnace, your announcement at the start of the meeting is what publicity will that get about the cards?
Ocean Spa.
Ocean Spa, sorry.
Just the communication awareness around the Ocean Spa fees changes.
Is there some sort of publicity going to be to that fact?
Sorry, can I speak to this? I don't think we need publicity. I think just the affected members need to be advised directly.
Gotcha. Yes.
So the members will be.
Members will be updated.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
That was a mistake.
Okay, I'll just close the meeting.
Can I just ask a question? With this document here, is that going to be on our website or included with the papers?
It'll be attached to the plan. It's just we got it late and so it'll be part of the next paper.
Oh, okay.
When we do it, it's part of it, but it was something, initiative we've come up a bit later and we didn't have it at pre-agenda. So I'll close the meeting. Thank you.
1 minute.
1 minute.